So if you hear the word self-care and you're like, what the hell does that even mean? Watch this video. I'm going to help you figure it out. So normally when you Google the word self-care, you'll come up with beautiful bullet lists. Don't you love a bullet list? Tons and tons of ideas for how to do self-care. And it'll be things like bubble baths, paint your nails, take a walk, all really great options, but all really heavily leaning into like the physical domain, how to take care of your body. There are lots of other ways to do self-care. In future videos, I'm going to go deep into each one of them, help you really explore what's going to work for you. For now, I'll give you a brief overview. So, physical self-care, you know what that is, taking care of your body, right? Noticing if your muscles are tense, giving yourself a good stretch, noticing if you're hungry and eating some nourishing food, noticing if you're randy. Yes, sexual intimacy counts as physical self-care. So giving your body what it needs. The next one is emotional self-care. And this is one that a lot of people, including therapists like me, are like, ugh, right? Sometimes it's hard to feel your feelings, but emotional self-care means learning to recognize what's going on in your emotional self and feeling those feelings. So if you need a good cry, you give it to yourself, right? If you need a belly laugh, you go watch a funny movie and you let yourself laugh. So know what you need emotionally and feel those feelings. The next one is cognitive self-care. I love cognitive self-care because I'm a bookworm, and what it means is really engaging your brain in something that is going to be immersive and riveting and let you disconnect from whatever the stressor is that's got you begging for self-care to begin with, right? So reading a great book, doing a puzzle like Sudoku or jigsaw puzzle, making something, tinkering, right? Art can really span all the domains of self-care, but, it counts for cognitive too. The next one is spiritual self-care. And spiritual self-care could look like going to a place of worship, right? And it could look like prayer, but it could look like other things too. So if you need to go out into the woods and sit in silence for a while, that can be your spiritual self-care. If you need to connect with a good friend who gets you on a spiritual level and talk out what's going on, that counts as spiritual self-care, right? So whatever you need, meditation even. Social self-care is really important because, folks, humans are social creatures, right? So whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, social self-care is important. It just looks a little different depending where you land on that spectrum. So, connect with your friends, even during these stay-at-home orders, and I'm telling you, this is the one that I need the most. Chucky, I miss you. Jenna, Jen, Corey, I miss you guys so much. Social self-care is critically important. And in addition to knowing when to reach out and connect with your people, there's also knowing when to set those boundaries, right? So that's social self-care too. Being able to say, you know what, right now I need alone time, right? That's healthy self-care. Professional self-care you won't find in a lot of those lists, and that's probably because it's very culturally bound, right? In America, we talk a lot about this thing, the American dream. We talk about bootstrapping ourselves and whatever. We have a lot of cultural stuff going on around our careers and what success looks like. So professional self-care, kind of like social self-care, it has a lot to do with boundaries. And it could mean throwing yourself into your career, making sure your financial health is nice and robust. Could also mean setting boundaries so that you don't get too caught up in this thing that we're supposed to be doing, whatever that is, success. And then practical self-care, this is the one that a lot of us shy away from. Well, we shy away from a couple of them, I guess, but practical self-care doesn't show up on most of our lists. And that's because it doesn't always feel like self-care in the moment. What it means is figuring out what it is that's got you, stressed out and tackling it, right? Asking for help, writing your list, crossing it off the list with the help of some people who've got your back, and doing the thing that's been bothering you. So practical self-care, realistic self-care, just getting it done so that when it is time to go and take your nice relaxing bubble bath or go out into the woods and just connect for a little while, you're able to fully do that self-care activity and you're able to reap the full benefits of it because you've done the practical stuff. So even though practical self-care doesn't always look that nurturing in the moment, sometimes that's exactly what you need. Right, so a lot of it has to do with being very self-aware and knowing what you need in the moment. And that's a skill. which you can build, and I'm going to help you do that in future videos. So for now, go out there and do something really nice for yourself, okay? Nourish yourself in some way. See you then.